Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. How is AI going to reshape the world that we live in? I am Raghav. I am Vice President for Customer Success and Digital Transformation with CEIPAL. And I have with me my long term friend, Sameer Penakalapati. He's a serial founder and he's a very well known name in the recruiting space. And I would like to pick his brain on what's going on in the AI space and how he sees the world is going to shape up because of the Gen AI. Welcome, Sameer.
Thank you, Raghav.
So, the first question, together we have seen so many transformations in terms of technology, the biggest technology trends, like we have seen the internet boom, we have seen the mobility boom, we have seen a lot of these things shaping up the world, right? We have seen, but however, one piece that I've observed is they really did not take as much time. Like they literally creeped into our lives a little longer. But one thing that I've been noticing is Gen AI has been creeping into our personal and professional lives really, really fast. In this line, what's your perspective on what industries and what industry segments are getting impacted with Gen AI?
It's almost impacting every aspect of industry and people. Also, all types of personalities and professional, personal, and segments. But some of them are more impacted than others. Like if we look into it, finance and insurance, which is including banking, professional services, and technical services, and information systems, basically, we're talking about. So if you look into any of these segments, the reports estimate that 70% of those jobs, somewhere other form, were impacted with the Gen AI. That is a significant number in terms of the true impact of the Gen AI. But if you look into these industries and those many jobs, it's impacting all at once. It's not. But I think, industry expects that these things will eventually happen. The timeline could be next 2 to 5 years. Some of them could, have impact much sooner than others. But I think in generally, you would see probably in our generation, this is probably the most impactful technology innovation of all the time that we have seen it. I think one thing that we have seen in the past in our generation was apps. iPhone, iOS, and Android apps. I think this is the second such evolution we're going to see it.
Absolutely. I see the way I look at it, right? A lot of people going through a lot of transformation, and it feels like the machines and humans are trying to figure out their own place. So that's where there is a lot of worry that is getting created in people that, hey, my job may be replaced. But on the other hand, me as a customer success executive, we see that what this is doing is actually freeing up the time from the employees to be able to focus on things that matter, specifically elevating the customer experience. So in this case, talking about customer or employee experience, you've been a veteran in the tech area, and HR tech has been in the forefront in embracing Gen AI. And CEIPAL has been playing a key role in terms of being a leader in delivering the technology or AI in terms of recruitment. So what do you think the future of AI in the perspective of recruitment industry?
There's one industry that we're going to see a quicker transformation compared to the others. Is definitely the recruitment industry is the one. There are so many areas. If we look into a complete life cycle of recruitment process, there are more than 50% of those recruitment processes can be automated. And then we're also looking into what are the ethical consideration of automating screening the candidates, and are those are neutralized. So there are so much of these nuances also creeping into it. But if we keep that aside for this discussion, SIA recently reported that about 40% of recruitment activities are going to be automated with AI in the next 2 to 3 years. And that's a recent report from SIA. I predict that would be even 50-50 in the time. Because if you look into AI advancement, it's actually doubling its efficiency every 3 to 6 months, depends on the area. So looking at the speed of innovation in the AI space, we are going to see 40% of the recruiter activities to be automated in the next 2 years. But at the same time, we're also going to see the change in skill sets that's going to appear in the industry. Those will be, you have supply and demand, because those skill set will not able to catch up to the demand. So then recruiters and the hiring managers are going to spend more time really looking into where to find these new skills. So it's going to be a balance between we automated 40% of the recruiter activities. And the second thing, how do I find these skills in the market to, upkeep these advancements by these industries that we just talked about it. So one way is, okay, you're going to shrink the activities, and second, another way is you're going to spend more time in finding those niche skills in the market. So, but there's another side of the angle too, because these skills are very specific and they're very niche. The need of these skills would be more on temp side, the freelance side. So the industry that services the freelancers and temp workforce is going to thrive more actually because of this. But those jobs would be the shorter term, but I think the demand will going to be tremendous. So it's an interesting times that we're going to see. One side is shrinking those activities, and second, you're going to fight for those niche skills that you fill in because things are moving so fast. So we're going to see next 2 years is going to be an amazing transformation in the recruitment industry.
Yeah, what I see funny is people are trying to use AI to beat AI. For example, some common scenario we hear, people are like, we built all these ATS to be able to find out if the candidate is genuine and if the skills are right. What is happening is now candidates are using AI to build resumes that are ATS friendly. Similarly, we are seeing people using ChatGPT to be able to find answers to the questions or the assignments. Now people are building AI tools to find if people are copying or people are copying the content. So it is like we are seeing these contradicting use cases where people are trying to use AI in a great way and at the same time in a funny way. Like many a times when we wanted to express something, earlier we had to do it in words. Now we are able to do it with pictures, funny ones or nice ones. So there are definitely a lot of things that are equipping us in making us better. And then going back to your point about the short-term nature, this is something what I'm worried about is like many times, like to build some things in the past, it used to take a long time. Now with the tools that we have, things are actually getting done quickly, whereas it's good for consumers, where it need not be so much for the employees. And you can always say, hey, people will have more time to spend on things that matter to them in the life rather than spending on coding or whatever it is.
But one thing I don't want to forget to mention that, especially in the staffing industry, because this involves, the employment, there are so much of regulation we're going to see it in using AI in hiring and employing individuals. So only time will tell how will that also impacts the industry because of these new regulatory compliances that governments are trying to figure out and trying to bring those new regulations to the industry. So we're going to see definitely there will be some restrictions on using AI in the recruitment process. And we also, see the adoption of the AI by these large corporations. So I think there's a lot of more unknowns than knowns at this point in time. But this is going to be a fascinating AI journey that we're going to be next 2-3 years.
I'm sure we're going to see some tools that are going to help us how to overcome these legal regulations. So time has to tell, right? And then like one of the most common outcomes that people are expecting using Gen AI is improved productivity, improved efficiencies. With Gen AI, what kind of outcomes you think our recruiting and staffing fraternity is going to see in terms of the efficiency improvement?
Oh my God. So we have a lot of use cases we look into within our CEIPAL Copilot ecosystem. Like for an example, the old saying used to be recruiters' efficiency is as good as them building such strings, right? Now you don't have to be. With the AI, you could create sophisticated Boolean such strings with it, right? We have very complicated job descriptions that kind of technically, So the recruiters may not be necessarily technical enough to describe to the candidates. Now this, using Chat GPT or another Gen AI, we could get the shorter description, summary of the job description. Then you could also invoke the auto responses for emails and SMS messages to the candidate. So it's just improving candidate engagement in the space. We're also seeing the voice AI, so that you could invoke the voice AI and get the basic information from the candidate or the hiring managers, and have this information flow between the candidate and the hiring managers seamlessly with a greater experience. And and then, for an example, even for technology platforms like CEIPAL, ATS and VMS systems, the candidate matching their resumes to the jobs to more precisely who would be the best fit. And then there is reason behind why would that be. So some of these things that would probably take a lot more time humanly to look into it, but then these LLMs can give us much more comprehensive analysis of why certain individuals be a best fit for the jobs. So those kind of things I think will shorten and also bring more efficiency into the recruitment process. So we have so many use cases that we're going to see it that actually improves both the recruitment side and the candidate perspectives. And frankly, there's one side that, okay, AI might induce some, biases in the system. I'm sure there will be some, but there are also a lot of benefits in terms of candidates getting noticed, and also have the increased efficiency and the speed for them to find the right match to the right skills of the right industry, because this may erase the boundaries, just because now everybody has this power engine that they can be used to find that jobs. So I think we go to see pros and cons, but the number of use cases in the industry is something that in an enormous amount I am super excited about looking into every time and research and looking to study about it. There will be any use case out that fits into the staffing industry. So we're going to see a lot more. It's just we're scratching the surface at this point in time.
I'm hoping the AI bias is going to be less complex than human bias, right? So I want to add some of the recent interactions with one of our customers on how AI specifically is helping them, which is helping them with the unknown. They are trying to hire for a job that they never handled before. The first and foremost thing they want to know, hey, how do I even build a job description? What are the requirements? What are the qualifications somebody needs to know? And then that is where we added some features where we could even build a job description directly inside the ATS. That's the first part. Then the second thing that they don't need is, how do I even qualify this candidate? How do I even evaluate this candidate? We have given something that's going to give them what are the qualifying questions and how to hire them. Then the third important question, which people come back and ask, how do I know how much I need to pay for this? This is something that I'm doing it for the first time. So that is where, and then we have built features wherein people could actually look into what would be the pay rate for this specific market for these type of skills. But this is where, and the example that you provided, which is about the search strings, right? So this is where, in my opinion, the Gen AI is bridging the gap between a very senior person and somebody fresh can also be able to handle to a great extent. What they may not be able to handle is things that AI cannot handle. So that is where, like, I see AI is bridging the gap. It's making people much easier. If they were to do all these three things, they had to probably spend a good week collecting all the information, figuring out how to do. With Gen AI, we're probably doing it in a matter of minutes. So that's where, like, there is a lot of time left for people to have human interactions, enhancing human experiences, customer experiences. So that's where I see Gen AI in general is probably going to make our lives easier. However, it may create some level of insecurity, saying, hey, now I don't have enough work, right?
Yeah.
So
just to add to that point, right? Recently, we're talking about AI agents. So agent is almost mimic the recruiter end to end. And that would be hard with the regulations coming on, because they go, I think it'll be interesting to see it. But there are some industries, especially, for an example, customer support space. And we're talking about BPO centers And those are already very well advanced, almost replacing human with AI agents. And now I've seen people talking about how do we price AI agent when you replace completely human. I don't believe that's the case with the recruitment and staffing industry, because there's a lot more nuance than just have a. This is not like really a transactional experience between the hiring manager candidate. Somebody's hiring for a specific work, and also not only the skills match, but the cultural fit. They're matching candidate vision with the company's vision. There are a lot more things that I think it's hard to imagine an AI agent one day replacing the recruiter. I don't believe that's the case, but there are some industries are poised for getting AIs and completely replace the human. But I think at the same time, they're estimating 18 million new AI jobs that doesn't exist today, would be available in the next 3 to 5 years. So that's what we're talking about.
So this is something that we've been noticing. Specifically, this is something some of the recruiters, they did express this kind of a fear in the past, saying, "Hey, is AI going to replace our jobs?" So the way we look at it, there are two distinct types of tasks that are handled by a recruiter. The first one is all mundane things like, hey, let me look at the recruitment, let me look at the requirement, let me go find the job boards, let me build my search strings, and let me find the resumes. So those are the pieces where AI can help make it shorter. Whereas there is a big piece, every recruiter is also a salesperson for the recruiting agency and also a salesperson for the job. So this is where now they have more time left to be able to provide that experience to the candidate. And that is where, in my opinion, AI as a tool is going to make every recruiter more equipped to be able to deliver that better experience and make sure their closures are going to be higher. If not, if they're spending half of their time on mundane tasks, they really are going to rush through, hey, are you ready? Like, this is what my job description is. Will you join? You don't want to join? So this is not how the conversations will go, because now they will have a lot of time left where they could actually discuss with the candidate what their needs are and how those needs are going to be provided by the company and everything. I think this is where I see AI doing a much better job, much better experience to the candidates as part of it.
I just want to leave one comment. I think it's almost you can't call recruiter anymore. You have to call it AI enabled recruiters. And because I've been talking about in the recent times that if a staffing agency not equipped their recruiters with the Copilot, for example, like CEIPAL Copilot, it really helps them to enhance their function and become a superpower recruiters. And they're truly enabled with AI. So that's why every staffing industry needs to change their title to be AI enabled recruiters. And that's truly what the recruiters are. They're handling the AI as part of their function. So it's basically the recruiter, and there is a shadow recruiter as an AI. The combined function is an AI enabled recruiter. And that's what it is. If the staffing firms truly enables their recruiters with the AI enabled Copilot, like CEIPAL Copilot, and they will do great, and they would probably the most benefit in terms of finding the talent and engaging the talent, and also building that pipeline that needs to service their customers. And they will not only survive, but they actually thrive. So if they don't have AI enabled recruiter, it's a time for them to start building their AI enabled recruiters.
Samir, I know you've been very passionate about introducing AI in anything and everything you do, and you challenge us in looking for ways to introduce AI into everything we do. So in this context, I want to hear your thoughts about what kind of changes are you going to see in the workplace? What skill shift do you expect in the workplace in terms of Gen AI? I'm sure there is going to be a lot of replacement. I want to hear your thoughts on how you think the workplace is going to change.
There is no silver bullet, Raghav, in terms of, like a template that this is going to happen to every workplace, because every industry is different. Again, as I said, banking, insurance, professional services, information systems have much more impact of Gen AI than core engineering firm and in other industries. So, but every industry, irrespective of what they do, either you have a back office operations to the front office, either you be a core engineering firm or core information systems, a banking system, anything that where is going to have some level, but any firm's back office would be automated more so depends on what industry they work, what type of jobs they do it. It'll vary, but my prediction is every industry, every job will go through some level of AI transformation, and the companies who embrace those. And again, I think we're going to see a lot more, jobs like a chief AI officer, right? Their key job is, can we introduce the AI into our industry, into our firm, and can we benefit like 3-4% of our company's productivity? If it's global 5,000 firm or large staffing business or large services firm, we're talking about every percentage of productivity improvement. We're talking about in millions of dollars in savings to the bottom line. So I think that conscious effort of driving AI into every nook and corner of every business, irrespective of what type of business, we're going to see that happening. And I think eventually we'll see this industry. This is a low-hanging fruit to adapt AI and transform. And I think in down the line, next 3-4 years, we're going to see every industry has a kind of a rule book that here is what you got to use AI and then benefits the industry. So, but it's inevitable that every industry will go through some level of transformation.
I'm also scared of the disruption this can bring to a lot of product development, or be it in terms of customer success. The amount of time that is taken to do something is going to dramatically shrink, right? And that is where like the so-called large enterprises need not be as successful as really small enterprises. You keep talking about, hey, this can disrupt any industry, right? Are there any specific industries where you think there will be more disruption than the other?
Yeah, I think, I have read many reports, and the banking, insurance, professional services, all kinds of professional services, talking about information systems, they are the most vulnerable for AI disruption. But this can be a good thing for someone who would be forefront in adapting AI and actually reaping the benefits of it, would tremendously grow their businesses. And there will be laggards who would not either bring in timely, or they're just complacent and adapting AI, would eventually go down in the drain. But those are the industries I see today will go through a massive transformation.
Do you see in terms of size of industries where it is going to be hard for certain size of industries to adapt versus the ones that would actually be nimble enough? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Any software development, that's going to be a tremendous AI is going to change the whole rule book into it, right? That's big. Banking, I mean, this is one of the things that we can't talk less about it, because one of the time, like I heard, I've read some time ago that, if you look into JP Morgan Chase, their current CEO and chairman, Jimmy Dimon, said once, we're not a bank, we're a software company. So, that's how, the forward-looking, larger of banking financial institutions are looking into themselves, leveraging AI, leveraging tech to really transform their business and then bring those efficiencies and, the services to those consumers, and that we have never seen before.
One visionary question, Samir. 5 years from now, How do you think your role as a founder, CEO is going to transform with the Gen AI in picture?
Very interesting question, Raghav. I had to bring this. I was reading a book, Exponential Organizations, EXO 2.0. This book, I read one statement. Anyone with a 5-year plan used to be a great, because you are seeing through that 5-year term. Now with this happening around, the book talks about 5-year plan is no longer even a valid, because things are changing so fast. You have to look into it every year and introducing new technologies and how it's impacting our business. If you are waiting for a 5-year to see, and you already passed, somebody else passed you a long time ago. So I am now believing in the fact that we need to look into our plan every single year and revising our plan. It's no longer a 5-year plan. I completely echo what the book says, and it's not a 5-year. 5-year is a generational change now. So I firmly believe it's a year plan, and we're seeing that changing every year.
Just like the way we used to love the test matches, and the test matches became one-day matches and then T20, right? And things are changing. Our planning horizon and our planning horizons are changing. And even in the customer success space, what we thought we would do this year changed significantly because of the tools that are available in the market, and how we are able to, even a simple sending the MOMs to our customers, we have changed significantly. The amount of time we spend is going down. And at the same time, the way we do the quality audits, like earlier we had to pour through a lot of emails and things to be able to find out what happened. But now with the AI tools, all of those things, we are able to get those insights in seconds, and which is transforming the way we were looking at customer success. And this is something we did not plan on last year, and I'm sure there is going to be a lot of surprise in store in the coming months as well. So I like your idea of maybe planning for a year, and at the same time we may have to revise our plans in the middle of the year as well, depending on the technology trends. Thank you, Samir, for your valuable insights. Thank you all for watching this video, and looking forward to meeting you in the upcoming video.
Thanks, Raghav. It was very insightful, and I really enjoyed our conversation. I hope I'll have another such a session sometime in the future. Thank you.